We'll start with the knowing the place of Ayurveda among healing sciences. Every branch of healing science has its own purview, and we have to make the best use of the scope of that particular branch, and we should not expect too much of any branch of science. It is always good for us to know the scope of a subject and its limitations, and then make a proper application within the limits. So let us have a rough idea of the limitations of the three branches of medical science. One is the classical or the allopathic branch, 2 homeopathy, 3 Ayurveda. Allopathy deals with the tissues and the physical body, the changes that take place in tissues when there is a disease, and people make a test of the tissues, a clinical diagnosis according to the distortions in the tissues, and then name the disease according to the chemical disturbances. And then they begin to, they try to antidote the constitution with the required medicinal substances. Kumar vaadu malli talupescharu. So, if there is more acid produced in the digestive system, they will analyze the acids into the required chemistry and use the anti-acid substances to counteract the acid produced. In the same way, when there is sugar in urine, they will use substances like insulin to antidote the sugar in urine. This is what is called the antipathic way of approach. That is, producing a condition which is of an opposite nature to the existing condition. This is how they do in allopathy. And by doing so, they antidote the physical tissues that are not required and preserve the tissues that are required. Another method they use is, they know the microbes and the virus that are working against life, and then they make a diagnosis. They name the disease according to the microbe or virus, and then use an antibody or an antipathic medicine or an antibiotic to kill the virus or microbe and produce a wash off, a cleaning and a purification of the constitution. This is how they approach in allopathy. So, the first one is using antipathic medicine. The second one is using cleaning and washing agents. And the third is called supplementation. For example, when calcium is deficient in the constitution, they supply the deficient calcium, required quantity of calcium, and try to fill up the deficiency. So these are the three methods that are used by the classical system of medicine. Of course, the methods of surgery, etc., do not belong to any one system of medicine, though they are for the present practiced exclusively by allopathy. For example, surgery is neither allopathy nor homeopathy nor Ayurveda. It is only a mechanical and physical way of removal of some parts, which becomes necessary when there is a long neglect of treatment, or when it is too late for the doctor to treat. So we cannot call all these methods allopathy. Only the three methods, that is antidoting, 2 is washing, and 3 is supplementing. This is the purview of allopathy. And we come to homeopathy next. First of all, homeopathy proposes that the tissues in the body are maintained constantly by the process of biochemistry that is taking place in the body. And this process is something which is vital and intelligent, and it is not material. A process is not at all materialistic, and it is this process that is maintaining the constitution, and it is this process that makes the difference between a corpse and a living body. Though we find the same tissues and the same skeleton in the corpse and the living constitution, that which makes the difference is not the physical tissue, but it is the force or the energy that is working through the tissues. And the energy is quite different from the matter of the tissues. Just as the electricity that is flowing through the wire is quite different from the material metal of the wire. So the physical tissues of our body can be compared with electrical wires, whereas the vital force that is flowing through these tissues can be compared with the electricity that is flowing through the wires. So beyond matter, force is proposed by homeopathy, which is not proposed in allopathy. And this force is called intelligent force. Mind and intelligence, they cause the force maintain the consistency of the body. If the constitution is producing the various secretions and tissues according to the requirement, it is only due to an intelligence that understands the requirement. If the respiration and the heartbeat are being conducted, there must be an intelligence present which knows the importance of the respiration and the heartbeat, and hence that intelligent force is conducting the matter to live. So the cause of our existence is in the intelligent force and not in the matter of the tissues. And when everything is properly being done, when the intelligence is properly working, thoughts are properly produced in us, the process of our thinking is normal, and the logic works positive, and our behavior will not be abnormal to anyone. In the sense, it is not troublesome to anyone or to oneself. And either to himself or others, the fellow will be positive in everything. So such a mind is the real test of health. It indicates that everything is going correct in the constitution, and such a mind indicates that the vital force is being properly distributed in the constitution, and every part and every tissue, every ganglia and every center is receiving its due in a proper and normal way, and the result is all parts work uniformly. The vital functions are uniform. The respiration is uniform and rhythmic. The heartbeat is uniform and rhythmic. There is no aberration in either the respiration or the heartbeat. And then the whole circulation of the blood is normal. The vital functions of alimentation and elimination are going normally. So the metabolism and the catabolism and anabolism are in order. So this is called health. And the causes of health exist in the intelligent force, manifested by the normalness of the normal behavior of the intelligence of the person, and the regularity of the vital function like stool, urination, etc. And then the physical body shows the signs of health. The tissues are healthy, the parts of the body are healthy, and the person lives a healthy life. So the causes of health exist in the intelligence and the force, while the results are felt on in the matter or body. And if there is something wrong, the causes also must be in the intelligence, and it results in an unequal distribution of the force. The energy centers get stuck up, and there will be a strain over the centers, and the uniformity of the distribution of the magnetic force through these centers via the cerebrospinal system through the nerves and their branches is disuniform, and the functions of the body undergo distortions and disturbances. The mind shows abnormalities of behavior, which we call symptoms, and then the vital functions show abnormalities of behavior. For example, diarrhea or constipation, too much of perspiration or no perspiration, like that. And then the physical body undergoes various distortions, which when neglected will result in an incurable stage after a length of time, which is not less than a decade, because the constitution or the intelligent force tries to rectify and sustain the constitution as long as it can, in spite of our negligence of treatment. And for 1, 2 or 3 decades, there may be a curable diseased condition, after which pathological changes take place in the physical constitution, which we can call tissue changes, after which there is no possibility of a real cure at all. So whenever there is disease in the body, the causes exist only in the mind and the vital force, not the physical body, and the signs and symptoms are shown by the mind and the vital body, whereas the tissue changes are found on the physical body. This, in short, is the theory of homeopathy. So we know now the difference between the allopathic understanding of disease, which is purely materialistic in its nature, which admits or includes no vital force or intelligence working in the constitution, and the homeopathic theory that proposes the vital force and its intelligent way of doing things. The mind, intelligence and force put together, one unit. This is the homeopathic theory. And let us go to the Ayurvedic theory, because without understanding homeopathy, it's not at all possible to understand Ayurveda, for the simple reason that Ayurveda also proposes the vital force, and the understanding of vital force according to Ayurveda is more intricate and more advanced than in homeopathy. Therefore, as a rule, it goes without saying that either one should be a traditional Ayurvedic student from the beginning, or he must be an efficient homeopathic scholar if he were to understand the Ayurvedic scientific basis properly. Now we go to the third, the Ayurvedic way of understanding. It also proposes matter, force and mind, just as the homeopathy proposes. And the matter is manufactured into 3 basic tissues, which we will study a little further, and 7 physical tissues. And the force manufactures these tissues, and it serves the functions of the production of the tissues and the functioning of the tissues and the metabolism. And the mind functions in a uniform way with force and matter. And further it proposes that there is a vital body in our physical body exactly recognized as homeopathy recognizes. So we have a structural body which we can see and feel, which we can weigh on a machine so many kilos, kg. That is our physical body, which can be called the structural body. And the same tissues include a vital body or a body of force which is moving this body, and it is made up of force. It is exactly in the form of the same body, exactly situated in the same tissues. Just as in the same electrical wire, electric current is flowing, the physical body can be compared with the electrical wire, and the vital body can be compared with the current, electric current that is flowing through the wire. And once again, the physical body can be compared with a piece of magnet, whereas the vital body can be compared with the magnetism in the magnet. And just as the magnet has poles in it, the physical body has centers. The vital body has its centers, which are functional centers. The physical body also has its centers, which are structural centers. For example, if we have the heart, we have a physical heart which can be examined by the cardiologist, the radiography of which can be taken, and also a vital or a functioning heart which cannot be seen by the cardiologist, and a radiography of which can never be taken. If you take a photograph of magnet, you can never take a photograph of magnetism in it. If you take a photograph of the electric wire, you can never take a photography of the electricity flowing through it, unless you make a manifestation of electricity into light. If you make a manifestation of electricity into sound, you can detect it through another instrument, the microphone. Like this, you can detect only the phenomena, the manifestations of the vital force, whereas the vital force cannot be detected by any instrument. By the behavior of the person, you can only find if the vital force is normal or distorted. So there is a structural heart and a functional heart which is different. In Sanskrit, the functional heart is called Hridaya, from which the word heart comes. And when if you examine the lungs, there are the functional or physical lungs and the vital or functioning lungs, which include the inhalation and exhalation. If you find the liver, you have A liver, that is structural liver, B or functioning liver. If you take the gaster, you have the structure of the gastric and the functioning of the gastric. If you take the mind, there is the brain which is the seat of the mind, which is purely physical and which has nothing to do with the mind, and the mind that is manifesting through the brain cells. Like this, you have two bodies in you, and the vital body has vital organs which are purely functional and which are senior most, because in the embryo these organs are produced first on the vital plane and then only on the physical plane. For example, the heart is produced on the mental plane and then the physical heart is produced in the embryo. Just as a potter making a pot, though he applies his hands upon the clay, he produces the pot in his mind, after which only he can produce the pot on the clay. Without producing the mental part, he can never produce a physical part. An artist, without producing a mental picture, cannot produce a physical picture. Similarly, the vital body and its organs are senior to the physical body and its organ. And here, the vital body, according to Ayurveda, has 3 main functional centers. And this fact is not there in homeopathy. We can compare them with the 3 whirlpools. Suppose there is a flow of water which produces whirlpools, which are only shapes in force, and they have their centripetal and centrifugal forces which produce vigorous and violent effects when disturbed. For example, a big whirlpool in a river, though it is only simple water, if you drop anything in it, it makes the person go round and round, go to the bottom, and again come up, and then dash to the shore. So it's a great manifestation of a double force, that is a centripetal and centrifugal force. Such whirlpools are there in the vital body, mainly 3 working. The one whirlpool is creative. That means it produces the cells and the tissues of the body according to the required biochemistry of the constitution. For example, if the teeth and bones want calcium, the calcium that is taken in through the food will be manufactured into the dental tissues. If phosphorus is required to form the nail tissue, the phosphorus compounds in our food will be manufactured into the cells of the tissue of the nails. Like that, one whirlpool begins to produce the tissues every moment and every second. So it is called the creative whirlpool. And every second the tissues are being produced fresh with the help of the food and drink we take in, with the help of the gases we take in, and the various etheric and atmospheric substances, and also planetary substances which cannot be included into the into the comprehension of the present modern science yet. For example, if you take some water in a bottle, it cannot make a circulation in the bottle. If you take some water in a big pipe or hose, the water stands there unless you move it. But the water that is there in your blood is making a beautiful circulation in the body, going into the heart and then into the lungs to get purified.
Yes.
Again, after purification, coming into the heart and going into the blood vessels, traveling every part of the body, vitalizing and galvanizing the tissues, and then once again returning with the impurities. So what's the difference between the water in the bottle and the water in your blood? The water in your blood is vital water, whereas the water in the bottle is only chemical water or mineral water. What makes the difference between chemical and biochemical water? What makes the water of your blood circulation, moving? It is the equilibrium of the structure of the atom. A big atom is there, and the atom is going on, moving at a high speed, pulsating. That atom is called our solar system, the nucleus of which is our sun, and the anodes and cathodes of which are our planets. If you can understand this, you will understand how the atom vibrates. When you see through the electronic microscope, when you find the spectroscopy of the atom of any substance, see how the atom is dancing and making the atomic substance go around the atom. Similarly, the solar system is working as an atom, and the sun and his planets are producing the electrode activity, and the whole thing is working as an electromagnetic unit, and it is this force that is helping your blood circulation. Just as every drop of water in a cup is moved when a person takes the cup with him, so also when the whole solar system is moving, when you can scientifically understand that the solar system is a personality and not a machine, then the solar personality has his own going and coming and his own work and program and planning. And just as each drop, every drop of the cup, every drop of the water in the cup is also moving, so the blood in the constitution of every fellow is being circulated. So the vital force has the planetary force included in it, and the whole thing is called the creative whirlpool, according to which the tissues are being produced every moment. Just as aerated water placed in a glass, you will find air bubbles being produced and thrown to the surface of the water, and there is a second whirlpool working. That can be called the combustive whirlpool or the destructive whirlpool. The produced tissues, when they have served their function, which is only a matter of a split second, then they should be destroyed and taken away. Otherwise, we will be no more on this earth. Just as some hours after alimentation, some hours after taking food and drink, the elimination of the stool and urine is caused, without which we will not live. Similarly, every split second, the tissues are being produced by the first center, and within a split second, they serve the purpose of sustaining us. Then they should be decomposed chemically, and the energy should be released in the form of the calories of heat in the body, and then it should be transformed into the electromagnetic energy, and then the cells of the tissues that have served the purpose should be destroyed and removed from the constitution. So there is the second center, which is the destructive center.